North American teams. Wanted to start with an easy one because there's only three countries, even though there are three really big countries. I got Canada, US, and Mexico. So I was looking at Canada, and in
And
the
in the
last
last
three
three
championships in
championships in
2020,
2020,
they
they
finished
finished
eighth.
eighth.
In
In
2022,
2022,
they
they
finished
finished
fifth,
fifth,
and then
and
they
then they
were
were
eighth
eighth
again
again
in
in
2024.
2024.
Canada's
Canada's
interesting. They
interesting. They
have
have
one of
one of
the
the
shortest
shortest
backyard
backyard
seasons.
seasons.
All
All
29 of
29
their
of their
backyards
backyards
take
take
place
place
between
between
March
March
and
and
October,
October,
and
and
really
really
most
most
of them
of
are
them are
in
in
April,
April,
May,
May,
April to
April to
August.
August.
They
They
the
the
Canadian
Canadian
winter
winter
is
is
no
no
joke.
joke.
I'm
I'm
fixing to
fixing to
go
go
up
up
there
there
in
in
January
January
to
to
the
the
northern
northern
part of
part of
Ontario,
Ontario,
and
and
I'm
I'm
buying
buying
up
up
some
some
really
really
serious
serious.
cold weather clothing for that. Their fierce winters are not a rumor. So their first silver ticket race doesn't even happen until October. The races in the past two editions were in Alberta and Quebec, and this year they've moved out to the relatively moderate climate of British Columbia, which is on, I guess it's around Vancouver on an island right on the edge of the coast. Hopefully they'll have a little bit better weather this time. Looking over their qualifying, their team is wide open. It's going to be really interesting to see who steps up this summer. The top qualifier currently is Lee Alonzo Murphy with his 74 yards at the last individual championships. And they have Eric Deshays with 67 and Amanda Nelson with 60. So currently it only takes 43 to break in on the at large. Oh, and almost forgot Francois Dessel, who has 50 yards. The bottom line is Team Canada's prospects for the championship are really riding on next summer and the silver ticket races. The at-large list is totally attainable. So what you really want to see happening in Canada is that some of these silver ticket races place more than one runner on the team, that they have high enough to winning totals to put several runners in. It's the nature of the backyard race that you really, it's only at the elite events that people get huge results. And we have Belgium, who has set the standard to contend for the championship with their 15th place runner getting 54 yards last time. So a team really would be better to go into the championship race with all 15 members having been 50 yards or more. It's not that you can't get a bigger total when you get to the bigger races, because that's how people do. But if you have some experience at the longer distances, then your chances to extend it way beyond that are a lot better. It's expected that everybody's going to come with their best race, but you need that background. And so that's where it stands with Canada right now. We're really looking forward to see what happens starting in April. The next team is Mexico. In 2020, Mexico really lit things up when they came from behind late in the race to finish third. They were led by the Raramuri. I think a lot of people have heard of the Tarahumara, and from Chihuahua, which was kind of the center of Mexico's backyard when they started out. In 2022, they finished 10th, and in 2024, they finished ninth. But they've made a lot of changes in the last year. Working forward, they've got a change in their venue where they have a place that's a little more accessible, and they are working on the transportation issues so that they can get people together. They've had a lot of growth in the number of backyards. They have 20 of them now, and they're spread all over the country. And so I think that that Mexico stands to get a much better representation this year. They have already had one silver race, and it was run by Rodolfo Ramirez Leonidas, who everybody probably remembers. He was a big crowd favorite at the individual championships. I think right now he's pretty much the undisputed top runner in Mexico with his 88 yards at the championships. And I think he will provide a lot of good leadership for their team. They have some other strong athletes at the top. Reyes Sativo, who had 80 yards at the individual championships in 23. And he's another one of the rare Murray. They have Juan Contreras, who has 76, Alejandro Hernandez at 67. They're holdovers from last year's team championship. And then they also have Alejandro Santiago with 56 and Manuel Munoz with 53. It's going to be really interesting to see what goes on in the silver tickets this summer. And again, because at the bottom end of their at-large list is in the 40s, you would hope to see some of those silver ticket events put more than one person in. They have some really outstanding events in that. The next one coming up in February is the Atleta de Pi, which if you've actually followed backyards over a period of time, that's really a classic race in Mexico, one of their early backyards, and it has the potential to put out some pretty big numbers. So if the satellites or some of the other events can put some additional athletes on the team, and with their really enhanced setup for their championship team, I think Mexico is a dark horse to watch for, to make the kind of run that they made in 2020, to really get out there and put a challenge on people. I remember from 2020 that, and from just experience since then, that the Mexican athletes really like to compete, and if they start making a big move, the whole country rallies behind them. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Mexico in it. The third and last of the North American countries is the USA. In 2020, we were second because the Belgians stunned the world by winning. 2022 was a really outstanding year for the US, and we got first. And then in 2024, we ended up third. We got off to a poor start and then got hit by a heat wave on the last day of the race, which really kind of took us down. The US has 76 backyard races, which is really the most in any single country. But to kind of give you an idea of where the backyard is right now, that's still only 12% of the races. Most of the backyard is spread around the world. And we have been strong, but we're not dominant. The dominant power is definitely Belgium. And again, this year, when you look at our roster on the website, you can see we have a powerful roster. Our 8 at-large athletes are all seasoned with a lot of international experience at the elite level. But the team championship is just that. In 2024, we had clearly the superior roster, but I think we kind of came in expecting we just win by showing up. And there are 3 tiers on a team when you look at the team competition. What you've got, what I call the foundation, the runners in the 11 through 15 spot. And they're the ones that really set the pace for your team. Whoever moves out front is the team who is strongest in the 11 through 16 through 15 positions. We had a couple of easy drops in 2024, and when Belgium went out like they did with their 15th guy getting 54 laps, we were an enormous, us and the rest of the world was an enormous hole. We were way behind. And their foundation five, really the 11 through 15, were the ones that won the championship for Belgium in 2024. Kind of the same way that our 11 through 15 won for us in 2022. The middle five is the 6 to 10 runners. And our 6 to 10 group really did a good job. We were the strongest in the world for that section. We made up some ground on Belgium, but were not able to close within striking distance. And then there were some other teams behind us that were also running strong through that segment. And of course, the last group is the finishing five, the 1 through 5 runners. And they really are kind of can only build on what's been done by the runners that came before them. When we got to that part of the race, we had some really serious heat come through. And I think the combination of the weather conditions and the situation with that Belgium was just blowing our doors off, we just kind of wilted and faltered. And when we did that, Australia, who had strong performances from their first two groups, they were in position and they could see us in front of them. And when they saw the U.S. floundering, the Aussies ratcheted it down and did what they had to do to end up finishing second. It was a pretty exciting race to watch, even though it's never fun when you're in front and someone's running you down. Hopefully, we'll be hungry this year, and we've corrected one deficiency because we have Don Stone as a dedicated team manager. It was, I think, arrogant and foolish both. I tried to do that and organize the whole event last year, and the result was that I did not give the kind of attention to the U.S. team that I needed to, because you can't win a world championship just by showing up and collecting it. You have to have in the backyard 15 athletes who all show up prepared and they're ready to compete as a team, because every single team member is vital. So here we've already had 2 silver ticket races, and Ryan Snickles won Babbitt's with 50 yards, and Mark Dowdle took the summit with 68. Those were both really competitive events that put strong runners on the team to replace the guys that are getting old, and I feel really good about our chances. The Queenies is coming up in March, which is in St. Louis. It's really only a third of the way across the country from the east to west, but in terms of the population, it's kind of dead center, and we're hoping to see a really competitive event at Queenie's. And I'm hoping that I can work it out where I can go up there and see it all take place. So we're very encouraged here in the U.S. because the 2 silver tickets we've had have been really good, and I think that the team we put forth will, with Don leading them, will be a lot better prepared to give their best effort. So this is the backyard. It doesn't go to the team that looks the best on paper. It'll be won by the 15 athletes who want it the most. So that's what I had prepared and looked up about the 3 teams in North America. Hopefully I'm learning as I go along, and I'll get a lot better at collecting the information and presenting it in the future. But I think there's a lot of excitement. We currently have 71 teams that are getting ready around the world, and it ought to be some hell of a show come October. I guess I will turn it over now to Fabienne. Am I getting closer?
Three, two, one.
Right now, we're in the silver brackets. With the silver brackets, we have 6 races with one silver event as a last chance to get into the USA Championship in a backyard. You generally, you have to have that second person to allow you to progress forward. So if there's a silver event, a lot of times the athletes know it will be stacked with athletes that are trying to progress their laps and yards. So that event does become much more competitive once it becomes a silver event. And reaching the 60s or higher for laps and yards. For the US team here, my job is trying to keep the athletes connected so they feel attached to the backyard and still in the loop of what's happening. So I'm working on grouping all the athletes or just getting their information to where I can connect with them, congratulate them, and then getting them into a group where they can communicate with each other so they can see what's happening, if there's updates and things like that, so that when they go into or get closer to the race, they feel relaxed and comfortable and they know what to expect and what's going to happen. Sometimes when athletes are out there being competitive, it can be one-sided and they're trying to compete for themselves. But with the team, you have to think of your teammate. So it's almost like with the Belgians, it seems like they're working as a team and maybe they're more concerned about their team 8 versus their own progress or successor. They're kind of working together in that aspect. So yeah, trying to get it to where everyone views it in a way of, yes, they want success, but then making sure that they're aware that it's probably more important to focus on your teammates' success or the people around you's success. And then, that will just build your own progression throughout the race. There's a couple conversations that have been going on about that course. There had been mention of possibly changing it, but because it was the original backyard course in Laz's backyard, it's iconic and people want to go to that course. It seems that's like, even if it's harder, they want to earn those laps on that course. You saw the individual backyard. That was close to, the Australian course is a bit flat and the record's 119 by Phil Gore. So, and Phil was out there producing very similar results on Laz's, high elevated course. So with 111. So, and he looked great. Who knows if he could have gotten 119 on the course as well. So I feel like it can be done. It is enjoyable watching this process, and the enthusiasm of the athletes, they're just so excited and they're excited to be a part of the group and just having that. I'm looking forward to I'm just trying to be present and watching the process and just kind of working towards the race.
We started here in Baja in 2022. It was a little bit less people, but now it has increased, and you can see that in my venue. We started with 21 loops, and now we have 66. And we started with 44 people. In the last or this year, in 2025, we have 192 runners. So it's been increasing a lot. We have 5 venues with silver ticket, and the rest of the backyards will have the opportunity, or the runners will have the opportunity to be in the Team Mexico if they achieve more than 43 loops. So we are having a good response for the people. I believe we are going in the correct path in order to achieve the 100 loops. That's we're seeking for that, and we were looking for that in this past event here in April in my venue, but unfortunately we couldn't. We only got to 66, but I think is going is we are going in the right way. It's not like soccer. No, that is the big difference. Only people that are involved in the ultra running, they will be engaged and commit to this format. But as you know, this format is pretty new. But yeah, you can feel the people that are very committed to support. But it also will depend on the region that the venue where the championship goes. As I mentioned before, and at this moment, we've been 2 years having increasing our loops. We last year was 61, now 66, and the difference is that the support that we have here in Baja. As you know, my country is a little bit big, and it's different commitments from different people from depending the states. But here in the north, we have a very support of the trail running community. That's the big difference that we made. He is a great person. He has this energy that will involve all the team members. Even though you saw it in the World Championship and the Team Championship, but in when he goes to a venue, he gives an energy to all the people. And what the good part of or good things that from him is that he shares all his knowledge, and he will gather with the people, help them support, help them push to go forward. So he's a good leader. He's a good leader. I'm pretty sure we're going to break the current record. We have 81 loops. I'm pretty sure we're going to go above that. We've been having some new ultra runners, Alex, Ignacio, Eder. So I think if we do synergy with those guys and all the rest of them, I think we can do a great performance.
Well, Canada has 6 silver ticket events spread across the nation from the east to the west coast. At the moment, we're just following along with the backyard events, seeing what their registrations look like, connecting with previous bronze and silver ticket winners to kind of see where they're at and if they're going to be joining us again in the next year. Also reaching out and supporting athletes, letting them know that we are going to be reaching out for some from nationwide or local sponsorship to help support them and get them to the event. Next year, the national event is hosted in British Columbia, so we're crossing our fingers for some very good weather. And yeah, it's a stunning course and a beautiful area, so it should be a lot of fun. Canada year-round running is it's tough. I think to be a Canadian runner, a backyard athlete, to be able to train in all circumstances, you develop some thick skin. So at the backyard events, we see everything from 20 to 30% that are chasing a silver coin, to 40% that are looking for a PR. And I find that group actually very interesting because we get a big number out, like I said, 40% that are looking for 50 miles, 100 miles. And no matter what they think that they're capable of, they always go further than that. So I really enjoy that group. And then we get a lower percentage of folks that are just coming to check out the backyard for the first time or want to see what it's about. And they'll join us for a half marathon or a full marathon distance. And they come back every single year. The first backyard that I was involved with was, I think, in 2018. It's crazy how fast time has gone. So yeah, it's definitely evolved to a lot of strategy, and there's lots of fun mind games that we see played out there, and lots of food and gear. But I still see a lot of the intention with the events that I've attended and that I like to promote and encourage, including my own. I still see a lot of the intention of what the backyard was created for and why it's here. A little community is created, and for that very short period in our lives, nothing exists out of that community. And it doesn't matter if you run 20K or 40K or 50 miles, you're part of the backyard. And it's part of your experience, and the having a bonfire and supporting each other and cheering for each other, and the rules that are in place. I love what's being created, and I hope as we continue to move forward and adapt, that we stay true to the intention of why Laz created the backyard.
Well, welcome back. I think one of the fun things that about this whole process for me has been talking with the team managers from around the world and seeing their enthusiasm and excitement about what is going on with their team and the things they're doing. I think it's just makes for a really great atmosphere everywhere. I'm back here to answer some questions, and I've got a couple here. Question one is there a way for the U.S. silver ticket winners to get some bell buckly wisdom before arriving to the satellite championships, the course layout, etc.? So one thing we're doing with our team, and I imagine it's common to all of them, is there's setting up a Facebook group for just the members of the team. And so you've got at least 8 guys that are on the at-large list right now who have raced here before, and you'll be able to share your information with them. I will be on that group personally since I'm really familiar with the course and its current status, which usually consists of, after the storms today and the wind, how many trees do I have to go out with a chainsaw and cut off the trail again. There's also something that has been done before. We have the Little Dog's Backyard 2 weeks before the satellite championships, and it's just an open event. It's a good old grassroots backyard with people running all different distances. You can always sign up for that and come and run. One guy came and ran, I think, 6 or 8 laps on the course just to get a good feel for it before the race. People off the team members, if you want to come by sometime when we're here in the intervening year, I'd show you around. I suspect that you can get cooperation from every team as far as getting a preview of the courses. So, and as while I'm at it, since we have various people in North America or anywhere in the world, if you want to come and run on the Biggs course, where all of these things have taken place over the years, it's the Little Dog's Backyard. You can find it on Ultra Sign Up. It's open entry. Anyone who wants to sign up can. We're just there to run some miles, drink some moonshine, and have a good time. So, although it is a bronze ticket event, it will move you on with a chance at a silver somewhere if you also want to use it as a place to start your journey to the World Championships. Then the question 2 is, are there any special accommodations for the relatively small group at the satellite championships, like unlimited crew size, unlimited space, showers, caviar? I think Fabian is going to ship us over some of that $40,000 a bottle of wine I saw in France. I'm afraid that privation is the name of the game at Biggs Trail. You will still be in the front yard of the front of the farm. You will have more space for your campsite. We'll mark off the 15 places closer, but you have a lot of yard that you can set up additional tents if you want more stuff going, or if you just want to move off to a private place. You'll have certainly more space at the porta potties. The running water still remains an issue that we have to figure out how to get more water down there. But as for a shower, that will probably happen if we have a rainstorm. And unlimited crew, I have learned you cannot tell anyone unlimited, because this tends to be something that everyone wants to come to and be at. We want to be able to locate the runners out of the crowd. So we'll probably set some cap on the number of crew members that you can have, but it won't be just one crew member because there is a lot more space. It was not cramped and crowded. We have built or in the have got a piece of property now on the side where that those who are at the World Championship saw it up for auction. It's not for auction anymore. It's now part of the big complex, and we will have a circular drive where the people can pull in and offload their stuff, not on stopped on the road, and have a little loading dock, and then they can go and park their cars and come back to take care of business. So no parking at all will be allowed on the road, and that way perhaps the police won't show up this time. So those were the two questions I've seen so far. If you've got questions on any aspect of backyards, I'm ready to answer them. And while we're at that, last week when we talked, we had one question come in immediately afterwards. And it was a question that was dear to my heart, asking about me concluding my transcontinental trip that I started before, where I ended up on the Colorado-Utah border. And we're in the planning stages. I've laid out my maps and got a few people lined up to crew for parts of it. It will be in the remotest part of Utah. There's a lot of geology and not much history, because if you look at the pioneer routes when they all got to Grand Junction, they either went north or south to avoid going where I'll be going. And I'll be doing a lot of it on Old Highway 70, which has long since been abandoned. It's replaced by an interstate used by nobody. It's what the world will look like 100 years after humans have left. So it ought to be a lot of fun. And I'm planning on doing it this spring. It's about 1,000 miles to San Francisco, where I want to hit the ocean, and I'm planning on doing it all in one shot because I have a great desire at 71. I'd sure like to get one more 1,000-miler in. Unfortunately, a 1,000-miler is not a 1-month project anymore. It's more like a 2-month project. So that is the status on finishing the Transcon. I hope when I get done with the journey races, or get done with that, I will have just enough time to ride a train from San Francisco all the way to Washington, D.C. and do another kind of Transcon, one on Amtrak. I think that'll be another adventure that won't hurt my feet so bad. And I had another question, which is, tell us about Dawn, the team manager. She was on the podcast, or on the broadcast of the individual championships with us, so you had a chance to meet her there. I don't know, I got to be careful what I say because she might be listening to this. She's enthusiastic, got a lot of ideas. I've found it really refreshing to see how everything's going to get done. I know if you're on the team, you have one huge benefit with Dawn as the team manager. Even if I had time to dedicate to it, she'll be getting the uniforms together, so you won't be stuck with my absolute lack of any sense of style or fashion. She's lives in Nevada. She's the race director of the Babbitt's Backyard, which was the first silver ticket event this year. So she has organized an event that went deep, and she's been around backyards for several years. She's got fire and enthusiasm, which are the most important things, and she attends to details, which is critically important. It's a question that wasn't asked that should be asked, because people send me this question in email on a regular basis. They say, how do I get my event to be a silver ticket event? Detail. I'm an old coach, and I know that success comes from attending to detail. Successful teams attend to detail, successful athletes attend to detail, and good races attend to detail. There are two things required to be an affiliated race, and one of them is to turn in your results after the race, and the second one is to update the date on the calendar with next year's date. And these seem like small things. We're talking about 5 minutes. Any of you out there who are race directors know the hardest things to do are the ones after the race is over, because you have been going along for somewhere between 6 months and a year, propelled by the fact that you're going to have runners ready to here to run at a certain time on a certain day. And when the last finisher crosses the finish line, that pressure is off. And so tiny housekeeping details are hard to muster the energy to do. You hate doing them, sending in results, updating your calendar, and all that stuff. So the silver ticket races will not be races who fail to attend to details. I think if you want to be a silver ticket race, silver tickets are not given to brand new inaugural events because you don't know what to expect. But of the ones that have been held before, and a race that was held with good success, followed the rules, and most importantly, attended to the painful details when it was over in a timely manner, they're going to be first on the list. We will approve the silver tickets. The team managers of the different countries have the most say in which ones are. But one that doesn't have that, if we can't get results, have to write you 10 emails begging for them, or you won't update your calendar, don't expect a silver ticket. So I have, will there be a live stream from the team championships this year? I don't know if y'all can see Fabian. Is Fabian closer? When I butcher your names on these broadcasts, know that I am trying. And if you send corrections, I'll do better. But I am stuck with the ears and the tongue that I developed in the past 70 years. We are planning to have the best broadcast we've ever had. I think it's exciting because that the team championships are such a compelling event, and they have so many things that we can do, but in the past we've been held up by not having sufficient funds to do it the right way. And I think we're on track with the number of people that are watching and paying attention. If you're out there, God, I hate to say this because I hear it so many times, but subscribe and keep your name on here and help us muster our sponsorship. We're planning on covering the whole thing, having remote feeds from the different countries, the places, things that are happening. You've got the early stages of the race before the things really start happening, where that we'll have the opportunity to have a feature hour for your country. And I think that's one of the things that I find most compelling, because that we have the ability, since the race is 24 hours long, we can feature every country in their own prime time. So yes, it ought to be a hell of a good time. I don't know how many people were with us on the broadcast last year, but I can tell you at the end, watching Guatemala chase people down to win the smallest division, and then seeing the 8 women and 7 men of Iceland win against all those much larger countries in the middle division. And then, as well as watching Canada run the US down and beat us out for 3rd place. Hey, if I didn't have a personal connection with our team, I would have said that with all 3 of those were highlights, but that was the one that capped it all at the end. So yes, there will be a live stream. And I don't know, we're about 40 minutes in. Do we have any more questions out there? So, oh, no other questions. Well, this was your chance. It was a golden opportunity. I know that the moment we wrap it up, we'll have at least one more question come in. And so I can stop at that or wander on forever. I think we should give you some freedom until next week, because next time around we plan to hit Australia and New Zealand. Everyone on this end is excited because we're going to do it at Australia and New Zealand's prime time, which means that for all of us, it's going to be a terrible time. We decided Thursday is not a good day to do it because here it will be Christmas Day. And while we would probably rather finish our Christmas Day by doing a broadcast about backyards, we would be killed by our spouses and families. So we're going to bow to the frivolous world and do Christmas on the 25th, and then our 26th, I believe it will be the 27th in New Zealand and Australia. We will have to study the math on this whole global time zone thing and make certain of that. But at your prime time and our terrible time, we will go over the Australia and New Zealand teams and see who is going to prevail, the Aussies or the Kiwis. So whenever you're ready, Fabienne, just give me the word.